Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I'm Andy Signor, and I'm so excited to finally face the music with these two. Bill and Ted are back in theaters with Face the Music. Look, I've been a fan of Bill and Ted since the very first excellent adventure they went on, and I also enjoyed the Bogus Journey. I know some people think it's a weird one, but I enjoyed that they took some different risks with it, creative risks. In fact, you should check out my interview with Ed Solomon. We talk about that. You can click up here and watch it, or I'll put it at the end of the video as well, but make sure to support those. But I did a two-part series. We got into not only how they made this film, this new one, but also some alternate timelines and things that I'll show you and talk about. In fact, please, I'm just going to tell you while I'm here, go support Movie World. It's right there. Rejected. Bill and Ted Adventures is a really good video, but it's such a small channel. I'm still trying to get attention over there. But go subscribe and check this one out. I'll make sure to promote it again at the end to remind you. But right now, we're talking about Bill and Ted. They're facing the music, and I got to be honest, it was really nice to see them back. This is a movie I think a lot of people never thought would actually get made, and I know it's been taking them years to finally get interest. We have that man in the pinkish red to I guess it's pink, yeah, to thank, because look, it's the Keanu sans that really is definitely helping this movie get made. Clearly he's so in demand, and the fact that he's still there, friends with everybody involved, and wanting to finally close this chapter and relive these characters that started his career early on. It's really nice to see him not forget his roots and want to support everybody involved. You can feel that throughout the movie. It's just a family vibe, and since these guys have all grown up behind the scenes as well, that is parlayed into the film. So that is part of the reason why I really enjoyed it. But let's break down sort of what the film's about without spoiling. The movie follows Bill and Ted, as you might remember there back in their excellent adventure days, back in San Dimas High. They are tasked with writing the song that will save the universe. At the end of the film, it's implied that they're going to be fine because they finally aced their history quiz test by doing an exam in front of the whole auditorium. But it's a fun finale and justifies it. Then Bogus Journey happens, and at the end, it seems like they've already cured the problem at the end of that film. They go back in time to learn the song, come back, and they have two sons, and they do a God gave rock and roll to you, and it seems like it's over. You get a little montage of all the scenes, but fun fact, that montage was written by the editors. That was not part of the film. It's not canon, but they still managed to sort of justify that, and what happened between then and now is the fact that that was not the song that saved the world. That was just a song, and it did make them more popular, and they toured, and there was a phase, but everyone lost interest, and it didn't actually bring together the piece that everyone thought it would. And that's where we're at with this film. We come back, and now they're older and trying to face the music and their life and figure out what to do next. The beginning of the film is really great because it does bring back a lot of sort of some supporting characters that you will remember if you do remember the first two films. So I do advise you sort of refamiliarize yourself with it because you'll enjoy it more. I don't think you need it, but if you're going to watch this at home or in theaters, go dust up on your previous Bill and Ted films because they're worth watching again. More probably the first one than the second one. Although the second one is mentioned too, just mostly because of death. And the fact that, they sort of address the kids. But the kids are now no longer boys. They did upgrade them to do daughters, and I had no problem with that. I think some people are going to try and make a stink out of this, but they are great. They're right here, this is Billy, Ted's daughter, Billy. And then this is played by Bridget Lundy Payne. And then we have Bill's daughter, Thea, played by Samara Weaving. Now, the one thing about this film, I have no problem with them. They're fun. My daughter loved them. My son loved them. We all enjoyed it as a family when we watched this film. My only problem is when you go back and learn about it, which I did through Ed, they had a problem writing this duo because they're kind of the same person. And I did some research before talking to Ed, and Ed reconfirmed this, but they basically wrote two characters that are the same. And so that makes the movie a little bit more harder to, do. A lot of people were telling them you can't have your two lead characters be the same. One needs to be smarter or whatever, make them different. And they chose not to. And I think in these movies, it really works. You have sort of the hero is two bodies, right? Well, and they're very positive. What up, dude? Well, dude, what do we do? Dude. And it sort of adds to the fun, positive vibe on it. In fact, that's what I love about these films. Keanu has recently been on record saying they're not stoners. They're just positive surfer guys who just support each other, love to play music, rock and roll. And I love that feel and that vibe of the film. They don't make them just like Cheech and Chong or anything else. But here they are older now, and they still have that vibe. But their daughters do too. Now, I think that's going to rub some of you the wrong way because it's literally now 4 Bill and Teds. They're just all, hey, dude, what's up? Positive vibes. Yeah, what's going on? Love you, Dad. Hey, how you guys do? And so it seems like it'd be funny and work, but I did notice at that point, it was at that point when I saw 4 of them on screen, I was like, it would have been nice to have a little bit of a variant here, maybe, but they don't go that route. They definitely are the daughters of Bill and Ted, and there are 2, mothers. Erin Hayes and John Mays play Elizabeth and Joanna, the princesses from the first film, but recast. But they're not given much to do, the moms, but they do have a funny setup where these 2 are sort of, they're in couples counseling. I'll get to them in a second. They're in couples counseling. This is the trailer, and they're in couples counseling with Bill and Ted and their significant others. And it's a funny moment because the therapist is trying, this is in the trailer, I'm not spoiling, but just trying to get Bill and Ted to realize, you guys, you have partners and daughters, you got to move on. But they're so still hung up on making that song that they're not, and they're sort of cluelessly not realizing that they need to sort of give each other space. And that's really what this film is about, is Bill and Ted finding themselves. And I enjoyed that about the film. And they go back. Now, the daughters are there, and some of you might find that character, but I liked it. Samara Weaving goes more low-key with it. I feel like she goes more Keanu, which is funny because she's playing Thea, which is Bill's daughter. And then Bridget Lundy Payne is Billy, playing Ted's daughter. She goes a little bit more bigger, which I thought always Bill was a little bit more like, yo, dude, let's do this. Whereas I feel like Keanu does it, but there's, you know what I'm saying? There's a little bit more low keyness to Keanu's dude. In this one, Bridget is the one who definitely is more vocally, what's up, dude? And I only bring this up because I noticed it. I noticed it, and at a certain point, it was like, all right, 4 dudes. It's a lot of dudes, but it wasn't enough that I despised or hated the film or disliked them. It would have been nice to have something different. So, but we do get different, obviously, and not familiar characters coming back, including Death. William Sadler's back. It was great to see him back in the character and understand what their dynamic was since they've been on tour. Are they still getting along? You'll learn that in the film. And it was great to see him back. And if you haven't watched my interview with William Sadler, Bill Sadler, highly suggest you check that out. I'll put this up here as well. Go support that interview. It's a lot of fun. But it's really fun to see him back in the mix with the accent, playing Death again, clearly missing the old days of rock and roll. And it's fun to bring him back. And then the film is really about Bill and Ted. And Bill and Ted in this version, while you have the first one goes through time and bringing the history characters back, the second one chose not to do that, even though they wanted them to. You'll learn that in the video. Go watch it at the end. But no, they didn't. They decided not to just have Bill and Ted zoom into another area of history or English class or whatever. No, they killed them in part 2. So they are kind of different films. And so 3 decides to make its own choice as well, by being more of like It's a Wonderful Life. Bill and Ted are zooming through history or through the future to try to meet the future selves to learn the song and just get the song so they can steal it from themselves and, finally solve the problem because they're on a deadline now. And so the film allows them to go and we meet Keanu and Alex's character in other versions. They get to do accents and CGI and makeup, and it's actually pretty fun. It's nice to see them get the opportunity to play there and play opposite each other and see different versions of Bill and Ted. That's where the movie excelled to me, because they go up against themselves and they're different. They're not just the same joyful dudes. You get to see a little bit of differences, and so that's where the movie excels, and that's really the heart of this movie, and that's why I ultimately really liked it and gave it a positive review, because we get to see them actually go on a journey adventure that's a little different, and it worked for me. At the same time, they rather than bring Death for a lot of it, he shows up near the end, they introduce a new character that they lean into heavy, and my kids liked him. I liked him. It's weird. I don't want to say too much about this robot, but there's some funny parts with it for sure, but they lean into it hard. It's like one of those jokes that you're either in for or you're not going to be in for, and I liked it, but this is sort of the new supporting character that I think they were hoping would become a big deal in the film, and he either will or he won't, but he will make you think. He'll make you feel a certain way, or he'll make you laugh. That's all I'll say about this. But I like that they took the risk there, and they made a choice and did something different. But overall, it's really the film about them and the daughters, and sort of the family. That really is that exudes this movie, because clearly they've all grown, with families in real life. So this film is made for families. It's made for fans. It's just a fun, positive experience. Does it all make sense at the end of the day? Not really, but I know what happened and I'm happy with it. And as a fan of Bill and Ted, I'm grateful that they finally were able to get this out to us. I think it's a smart, fun, funny, and positive movie that we need right now. And the vibe and the theme of be excellent to each other could not be more needed than right now in 2020. So such a nice, delightful opportunity to get back to these characters and see them. They did not disappoint me. I enjoyed it. I don't, whether you see it in theaters or in on demand, I don't think it matters. Whatever you're comfortable with, enjoy it. It's fun. I saw it on my big TV at home, and I enjoyed it a lot, and my full family did. So highly recommend you go check it out. In the meanwhile, now don't leave anywhere, because please go check out watch this one, The Excellent Adventures Over in Movie World. It's a lot of fun. You get to learn more about what happened, and then you can watch the other interview with Ed Solomon talking about how this movie got made. And then down here, it's going to be right here. There it is. William Sadler interview. If you want to learn more about him and his fantastic history of film and talking about doing this one, you can check that out. And then you can subscribe here. So lots more to check out. Thank you so much for watching. It's Thursday. We'll be here live, so stay tuned, 9 p.m. for Nerd Wars. Be excellent to everybody. Wait, be excellent to one another, everybody. That's the most important vibe. Thanks, everybody.